Empathy as the foundation of good relationships in a world increasingly dominated by digital communication and self-focused success metrics. Empathy remains the single most important ingredient for healthy, lasting relationships. While traits like intelligence, humor, or shared interests can spark connections, it is empathy that transforms casual relationships into deep, meaningful bonds. What empathy really means: empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It goes beyond sympathy, which merely acknowledges someone at pain. Empathy asks us to step into their emotional experience and see the world through their eyes. Psychologists generally identify two forms of empathy: the intellectual understanding of another person at perspective. Affective empathy, the emotional capacity to actually feel what another person is feeling. The most effective relationships contain both. Why empathy is the foundation mode. It creates psychological safety when people feel truly understood. They lower their emotional defenses. They become willing to be vulnerable, to share their real thoughts and fears. This psychological safety is the bedrock of intimacy in romantic relationships, trust in friendships, and openness in families and workplaces. It prevents misunderstanding. Most conflicts don't stem from genuine incompatibility, but from feeling misunderstood. Empathy acts as a bridge across differences in personality, upbringing, and communication styles. When we make the effort to understand someone at internal world, we are far less likely to take their behavior personally or jump to negative conclusions. It builds emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is not built through shared experiences alone, but through the feeling that this person get me. Empathy is the vehicle that delivers that feeling. A partner who can empathize with your stress after a difficult workday, a friend who can sit with your grief without trying to fix it, or a parent who can validate a teenager at overwhelming emotions, these are the relationships that last. Empathy in different relationships. In romantic partnerships, empathy is the difference between couples who survive challenges and those who slowly drift apart. Research by Dr. John Gottman shows that couples who respond to each other at emotional bids with empathy have dramatically higher success rates. In friendships, empathy is what separates surface-level connections from lifelong bonds. The friend who can celebrate your success without jealousy and support you during failure without judgment becomes irreplaceable. In parenting and family dynamics, empathy allows us to see beyond difficult behavior to the unmet needs beneath. Children who grow up with empathetic parents develop stronger emotional intelligence and self-worth. Even in professional relationships, empathy has become a critical leadership skill. Leaders who demonstrate empathy build more engaged teams, foster innovation, and create cultures where people genuinely care about each other at success. Developing greater empathy. The good news is that empathy is a skill that can be cultivated. Practice active listening. Focus entirely on understanding rather than preparing your response. Ask powerful questions. What was that experience like for you? Rather than jumping to advice. Observe nonverbal cues, often what people do. Challenge your assumptions. Recognize that your perspective is not universal. Read fiction and consume diverse stories. Studies show that reading literary fiction actually increases empathy by expanding our ability to imagine other consciousnesses. The reciprocal nature of empathy. Perhaps most beautiful is empathy at reciprocal quality. When we offer genuine empathy to others, we often receive it in return. This creates a virtuous cycle that deepens relationships over decades rather than letting them fade with time. In the end, the quality of our lives is largely determined by the quality of our relationships, and the quality of our relationships is largely determined by our capacity for empathy. It is not grand gestures or perfect words that people remember most. It is the feeling of being deeply seen, heard, and understood. That is the quiet power of empathy, the true foundation upon which all good relationships are built.